Hello, welcome in. I'm going to guide today a lunch break style yin practice, in particular to support the kidney and bladder lines and meridians. So, since we'll be practicing yin style yoga, I recommend to have all the equipment you have on hand. And if you don't have any equipment on hand, you can grab some heavy books, some pillows, and some blankets, hopefully from your home, from your bed. And go ahead and pause if you need to gather some things. And when you're ready, I will see you on the mat and we'll start in a seat that's comfortable so you can get propped up there when you're ready. Okay, I'm a little bit backlit here. It's a really beautiful spring day here in New England. Um, but hopefully, since it's yin, you won't have to move around too much and you'll be able to see enough to get settled into the shapes. So we'll start in a seat that's comfortable. That could be crisscross like Sukhasana. I've got my hips propped up, or maybe you want to sit back on your heels. Whatever works best in your practice is just fine. And give yourself just a moment to land before we layer anything else on here. And I want to begin today by first helping you envision a little bit, um, in particular about the kidney line, which is our main focus today. So if it's safe for you, excuse me, you can close down the windows of your eyes or kind of soften your focus. Turn your awareness within. This line runs from the soles of your feet up the inner lines of your legs, through the lower back, through the kidneys themselves, and into your chest. So this sequence for today is developed in order to nourish your kidney chi or ki and hopefully support you in releasing any deep-seated tension. These are often this area, this line, these organs are often related with fear as well, and meant to support replenishing your life force. In yoga or Ayurveda, we might know it as prana or ojas. So this kind of nurturing, life-giving um, practice, supporting our longevity. This is the root, part of the vital energy of the kidney meridian in Chinese medicine is supporting our longevity, our wisdom, our willpower, but it is that seat of fear. So we want to support balance here in order to um, land in a way that is a little more grounded, courageous, and adaptable. Because when we're too depleted or overrun, we're just simply not nourished in this area. We might be experiencing things like exhaustion, overwhelm, and that is certainly when fear can creep in, right? And be kind of an unwelcome passenger as part of our experience. So let's take hands together in front of the heart to begin and rub them really, really fast with all of your might to build some heat. Rub, 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 rub until they get really, really warm. And then take your warm palms to your low back. We're going to connect here with the physical organ of the kidney. Take a few breaths. You might even try that for a few rounds if you feel like your back, your kidneys just kind of absorb that heat rather quickly, or if you're in a little bit of a colder space and your palms don't hold the heat, you can reheat a few times, bringing warmth and awareness to the kidneys. You can inhale strength, nurturing, softness, and exhale anything that feels like fear. You can think of the kidneys as our inner reservoir of resilience. And TCM, the kidneys also represent our foundation. So, um, building resilience and immunity it's a long-term uh, project. There's no such thing as a quick fix, as we have learned time and time again in different forms of ancient medicine. So this time, as you land your hands there, let's add on some kidney key breathing. You can inhale deeply as if you're breathing right into your low back. And then exhale very slowly through your mouth. Do two more of those. Inhale, nice long inhale as if you're breathing right into your lower back. And exhale through slowly through your mouth. And visualize energy pooling in that lower dantian, energetic center just below the navel. This one last round. And go ahead and release that breath, release your hands. If you're propped up at all, you can slide your prop off to the side. And we'll come into butterfly as our first shape of the practice. So go ahead and bring your feet together. Some folks like a little more of an omega, like a more of like a diamond shape. So you can widen out if that feels best or better for you, or you can draw your feet in closer to the groin. Blocks are always an option. You can use them several ways, could be underneath outer knees or stacked up. So we're heading toward a fold. In fact, I'm going to turn to show this from the side. And um, of course, in yin, we want everything to soften. So the tummy can be soft, the back can really round, the shoulders are fully released, elbows and wrists are heavy. If you'd like, you might prop the weight of your head on a block or stack a few blocks here. Perhaps even open your palms upward toward the sky, especially if you have a tendency to clench or clamp or make fists with your palms. We'll settle in for several minutes here in our first shape. And this one's really, really a great posture, like a classic posture for the kidney lines since they run along the inseam of the legs and thighs and into the lower back. It's really one that helps encourage us to let go of fear, embrace trust. And these forward folds are always just so great for, turning the awareness within. The kidneys are the storage house of Jing in Chinese medicine as well, which is kind of somewhat similar to the concept of ojas in Ayurveda. It's like our life essence, deepest drops of our essence. We really want to keep the kidneys nourished. Just about 1 minute left here. Perhaps there's space to shift something about your variation if there's a way you can improve your edge. That might not necessarily mean deepening into it. It might mean backing off. And then after these next two cycles of breath, unhurried breaths, go ahead and begin to lift from the backside of your heart to come up toward a nice tall seat. I always want to transition in slow-mo in yin class, right? Maintain that yin energy that we're working to cultivate. You can help guide your knees together at center, and then go ahead and take your legs out long. But let's soften the tops of the thighs, right? I like to shake them out. You can prop your hips up onto a folded blanket if you'd like for this one. You can also take a little bit of a bend in your knees. We're heading toward caterpillar. So Yin's answer to Paschimottanasana. If the hamstrings are super squeaky, an extra rolled mat, a pillow, or a bolster. I've got quite a high bolster, but certainly if you've got really tight hamstrings, then a high bolster might work well, right? So you can take it here. Feet can be kind of floppy. And the blocks, again, might come in handy to support the weight of your head. So, again, soft tummy, rounded back as you fold forward into caterpillar. Again, getting into that low back area, the kidneys, the storage, the jing. And of course, we'll stay for several minutes. You can set yourself up in a way that feels sustainable. I always like to remind if it feels impossible to hold for a few breaths, then it's probably not wise to hold for several minutes, right? And particularly today, as we're working with the kidneys, also the seat of wisdom, we want to listen to that inner wisdom. I love this quote, Hafiz, so wise, and beautiful, incredible poet who said that fear is the cheapest room in the house. I'd really like to see you living in better conditions. I love to think of that when I notice myself in a spiral of fear or anxiety. Like, wow, this is really the cheapest room in the house. This is the easiest get out and go to, right? So, how can I offer myself better living conditions? And one way that's great and that's really within our power is to support the kidney energy. We're about halfway through in this shape, supporting this area. It has a little added bonus as well to supporting our adrenal health, which is nice. Many people in today's fast-paced world are kind of continually uh, drained via adrenal overactivation. Not excessive fear and stress and anxiety really depletes not just our adrenaline, but our kidney energy. So this is the type of shape that's really soothing and replenishing. Take three more unhurried breaths. And then go ahead and start to lift again from the backside of your heart. Come on up toward a nice tall seat. You can set your blocks to the side. We're going to need them in a moment. Land your feet to the mat. Take a little bit of movement from side to side. And then sweep your feet around behind you. Bring your blocks with you and land onto your knees. So we will have one knee down in this next form. Typically, I'd always work with my blanket, but since I have a soft surface, I have a carpet surface underneath. I won't do that today. But if you're on a hardwood surface or a ceramic surface, something like that, you might want to cushion your back knee with a blanket. And we'll begin with the right foot forward for a low dragon. So that can look a lot of different ways, right? Depends what you're working with. You could have your hands on your blocks and it could look like a little bit of a lean forward and perhaps the weight of your head rests down. right? Make sure I can see my timer from here. If this doesn't feel like enough of an edge for what you're looking for, you might take both of your blocks to the inside of your right leg and actually land right down onto the elbows, forearms. They could even land to the earth, right? Some folks are going to want or need or request that edge in their form. This is a little bit of a shorter hold. It'll be just about a minute and a half on each side. These low dragons in particular can be really intense. So drop into your still point within the next breath or two. Got about a minute left here. Getting deep into the kidney channel here along the inner thighs. Are there any pockets where you might be able to soften further? And then within your next two breaths, go ahead and start to slowly lift out. Even though these are slightly shorter holds, there's such a depth and intensity to the dragon postures that I just cannot emphasize enough to transition out with great care and slowness. You can invite your right knee back alongside your left. And let's come to the second side. So again, cushion your back knee if you'd like. Stay as high or as low as works for your body. Remember, the option is there for folks working with this type of edge to bring both blocks to the inside of your left foot and come on down to forearms. You can also lower your blocks. You can also lower your forearms right to the ground. So, no guarantee that what happened on one side will be the same, but it might be. So, check that out. And about a minute and a half here. The weight of your head can lower down and be heavy. Just under a minute left here on the second side. And after these next two breaths, it's a really slow lift on up and out of that low dragon. You can use your blocks to land on back to both knees. And we're heading toward Sphinx next. So, for anyone that knows their variation, already knows which one they love and adore, go ahead and come into it. A couple recommendations for anyone that it's newer or newish to, perhaps a blanket underneath the hip points. Um, Go ahead and keep your blocks nearby. For anyone who is not a huge fan of back extensions, back bends, this is a low one. It's pretty accessible. However, there's lots of reasons why people might not be back bending. In that case, a bolster or pillow is going to greatly support you. Of course, skipping it altogether is an option if you have anything, very serious going on in the low back. So it could be here and you're landing onto your forearms. The other thing we can do, and it's certainly not taking away from the impact of this posture, is you can bring a block and rest your head down onto it. So we are in an extension, but because of the length of it, it doesn't need to be so extreme, right? So find a place where your elbows can land. You can keep your gaze lifted, or you can rest your head. For those that want more of an edge, seal is an option. So hands can come a little wider and your elbows can float, right? But we will be about 3 minutes here. So, find the expression that is sustainable. It's the word I always use, but it's so true. In vinyasa practice, we only really need to be able to hang out in any particular shape for maybe 5 breaths. In yin, we might be there for 5 minutes. So it really changes the name of the game. It's such a humbling practice. And so many times we realize that we really need to, or perhaps should be doing less, right? Which can be really challenging, particularly transitioning from a vinyasa style practice. Smooth out your breath. A little gentle extension here to stimulate the lower back and the kidneys. Enliven them a little bit. Remember, our kidneys are also linked to our willpower and adaptability, right? They're the organ of the element of water in Chinese medicine. So when really strong, we can face challenges with much more ease, right? Which I find that can be the case anyway when we can reduce fear and anxiety. In fact, there's a Chinese proverb that says that the wise adapt themselves to circumstances as water molds itself to the pitcher. I mean, this is really it, right? When we are at ease, we have greater adaptability. We want strong and healthy kidney lines. Just about 1 minute left here. Take 3 more breaths without shifting, right? Without hurrying, without rushing. And then if your elbows are afloat, if you're in that seal variation, go ahead and lower down. If you're propped up on a pillow or a bolster, you can slide that out from underneath you and rest all the way down onto the earth for a few breaths. Just finding a simple, neutral spine. And then go ahead and slide your hands in underneath your shoulders, only to lift back towards table, where you can slide your feet out from underneath you, on around to the front. Go ahead and grab any equipment you might know that you would like for Shavasana. We're not heading there just yet, but we are heading down to the earth. So in order to not come back up, have that handy. And then go ahead and rest all the way down to the mat. Be sure you've got a block or some books handy. You could also, if you don't have those at home, you could also do this with a stack of pillows and check it out. Okay. So with your knees bent and resting into the soles of your feet, press the earth away and slide the block underneath you. I'm really going to request that you either take the lowest setting or the middle setting for stability's sake, right? Meaning we don't want to take this posture on the tallest setting, at least not initially, right? So I'm going to go ahead to the middle setting. And you want to make sure your whole sacrum is really stable there. And this might feel like enough across the tops of the hips for a lot of people. If so, that's great. If you want to have a little bit more of an extension, we just kind of worked into a bitty extension. So we're getting the last one in here before we neutralize it. But perhaps you want to work to extend your legs out toward pontoon. Let your feet, ankles, tops of your thighs soften. So if this feels like way too much in the tops of your thighs, you can also do it one side at a time. Or again, that variation might just not be right for you. And in that case, keep both of your knees bent. I will let you know when we're halfway through. Um, in the case that anyone is doing this one-legged variation. In fact, I'll do that so that I don't forget. And I'll let you know when we're about halfway through so you can swap sides. Last little bit of strength, awakening for the low back. Just perking up, waking up that jing from the kidneys and encouraging a flushing in of new, fresh energy. We're about halfway through in this 3-minute hold, which means if you're taking on that one-legged variation, go ahead and switch to the opposite side for half pontoon. If everything else in your form can be soft and surrendered. Notice where your mind wants to go in the larger spaces of silence. If you need something to anchor your mind onto, you can send it directly to the physical place, the physical home of your kidneys. And if you're not super familiar with that, simply send your awareness to your low back zone. Take 3 more unhurried breaths. And then if you're not already there, slide both feet up and into the earth with knees bent. So you can press away, find a little bit of a lift to slide your block out from underneath you. And we'll transition directly into our next shape, which is going to be greatly neutralizing after those 2 extensions. So go ahead and take both knees over to your right. And you've got an option here to stack them or stagger. I'm going to give an upper body variation too. So you can take twisted roots, which is right foot to the outer left thigh, and knees are staggered. Or you can take reclined twist with knees stacked, whatever feels best in your lower body. This is going to get a little bit more of that inner thigh action, right, for the kidneys, but maybe your inner thigh out. So in that case, stack here, you're going to feel a little more in the outer line. And then if you'd like, you can take your left arm high up and back behind you, right arm out from your shoulder. So it looks like this, more of an L shape, right, versus a T. If that feels like too much in the shoulder or for your neck, Keep your arms wide, like a T, or even cactus arms work great as well. And then take a last final twist. Twists are just such a beautiful, like wringing out of our energy. I know that this is one family of asana that just always immediately has me feeling nourished and calm. Remember, you can direct your mind to the low back, towards your kidneys if you notice it wandering. We're pretty deep into our practice at this point, so hopefully there's a little more softness for the mind, but you never know. Meditating in shapes thing can be really tough sometimes. And along the journey of your next 3 breaths, you can start to transition back to center. So if you're in this twisted roots variation, make sure to offer your right foot down to the earth first. And go ahead and lift up the pelvic floor so you get a little bit of low back support as you come on back towards center. You can adjust your arms and shoulders back towards something more neutral. Take your time to head on over to the second side. So same options. It's a stack or twisted roots. This time around would be left foot atop outer right thigh. We're hanging out here for 5 minutes. And if you liked that upper body variation, this time it's right arm up and back overhead, left arm out from your shoulder. So L shape here. Otherwise, keep your arms long or cactus arms. Any of those work great. Depends on the type of sensation that you're um, wanting and willing to hang out with here for 3 minutes. About 2.5 minutes left. Just about a minute left on this last side. And then once again, somewhere along the journey of your next three breaths, for yourself a slow drift back towards center. Remember, thin twisted roots, take that upper foot down first. Lift yourself with the help of your core back towards center. And then once you land, allow for a slow and unhurried rock of your knees. Oops, hopefully without knocking plants over. From side to side. And then there's a little space here for you to build in any last shape or form that you might like. I know something perhaps you've all been waiting for is a hug in of the knees after those last two extensions. So maybe you want to hug your knees in and take a little bit of movement from side to side or some circular movements. If moving around in circles, make sure to move in both directions. An inversion might fit in nicely here, either a plow or shoulder stand, or a very simple legs up the wall if you want to extend to an L shape for just a few breaths. Whatever your body is feeling into to prepare for a greater depth to your rest and integration. And so, in the next 3 to 5 breaths, certainly if you're in an inversion and it's just feeling like so luxurious, you can hang out there for a little bit longer. Um, but in the next 3 to 5 breaths, set yourself up for a really, really nourishing shavasana if you'd like. So that could mean bolster. Maybe you want to cover in a blanket. If you're one of those people that gets really nourished by meditation, by sitting in a seat, I mean, we've just done almost 40 minutes of meditating in shapes, but some prefer to finish practice in a seat. And if that's you, then you can also find support, right? Find a nourishing seat for your meditation. You might close there, settle in, and find that which most nourishes you. Whether seated or lying down, let's begin our integration by, excuse me, bringing hands to the low tummy. And coming back to that dantian. Notice this space as the deep reservoir of life energy that's within you. And having really nice, nourished, healthy, balanced kidney lines really invites us to learn the practice of surrendering fully, trusting our body's own wisdom, our own wisdom. You might visualize water flowing through your body, replenishing, restoring. You are adaptable, strong, deeply supported. You can build resilience, you can be grounded, you can be adaptable. If you've got time for a really extended meditation or relaxation, then I encourage you to pause and take that for yourself, really nourish yourself. For anyone really taking this as a lunch break practice or prior to work practice, you can start to lengthen out your breath. Offer in gentle movements. Rock your head from side to side if you're seated, little maybe cat cow back or neck rolls. And if you're on the earth, take a roll on down to your favorite side. And then land on up in a seat where we can seal the practice together. You can come into any gesture that feels most authentic for you. That could be palms folded to your heart as in Anjali. Maybe you want to end by sending in some gratitude to low back and kidneys. That's a nice option as well. You can allow your head to rest nice and low, to gesture of gratitude. And I thank you so much for taking on this yin style practice to support and nourish the kidney lines with me today. Please enjoy the rest of your day and may you step into it with courage and wisdom and a lot of jing, a lot of life force in the kidneys and beyond. Thank you so much. Hope to see you all back in soon for practice. Thanks for joining. Hope to see you back soon. Ciao, ciao.